And for the first time in 100 years, Paris hosts the Summer Games, and tonight is the opening ceremony, which will take place along the River Seine. Very different. Of course, it normally ends up in a stadium, but they're doing it with the athletes on boats and barges down the river that gouges through the French capital. Tom Daley and Helen Glover have been named as Team GB's joint flag bearers. You can follow the event here on talkSPORT live as Natalie Sawyer and Dame Kelly Holmes present live coverage from 7 p.m. And the 2 times gold medalist Dame Kelly Holmes joins us now. Good morning, Kelly.
Morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Kelly. Morning, guys. How you doing?
Really good. Thank you very much, Kelly. I every time we meet, which isn't very often, or we work together, I always have to tell the same story because it's still. I'm smiling because it makes my heart leap. Just to throw back to 20 years ago in Athens, and Kelly, of course, won her 2 gold medals. The second gold medal happened literally as I was walking into the studio at BBC London, where I was then working, and we were all magnificently excited that Kelly had won a second gold medal. I loved the athletics. I was going nuts myself. One of the young people on the in the production crew walked through and said, "I used to work on the local radio in Kent. I've got Kelly's mum's home number." I said, "You what? You what?" And I said, "Ring it now." We rang it, and the party in the Holmes household was in full swing. And it was a joy, Kelly, to talk to your mum at the exact moment you jumped at the hair. What hair I've got is now standing on top of my head. A beautiful, beautiful memory. So thank you for that, Kelly, and thanks to your family for all of that. But a different opening ceremony. Do you think... progress is good, perhaps, but do you think the athletes will miss all sort of jogging around together in the stadium?
Well, it is going to be very different, isn't it? And I think that's the unique thing of the Olympic Games as it evolves. New sports come in, the way that they showcase it. Of course, it's going to have a different feel when you're in a stadium. It's all kind of enclosed, the atmosphere, the enormity of what those games mean, the fireworks coming off the top. But I think, a lot of people also don't get to be inside the stadium and watch it from their televisions or on the sidelines. So it's going to be a spectacular. From an athlete's point of view, that will be interesting because I never did an opening ceremony purely because the athletics team hadn't yet arrived into the village. So there'll be a representation from those countries going onto the boats, of course. And the only thing is, it's quite a lot of standing around from an athlete's point of view. So they choose the sports that are going to participate in those boats because, of course, a lot of prepping for their actual games. So it'd be really interesting who gets sent out for the Team GB on the boat this time. There'll be a lot of officials that all get sent out for sure, representing, still in their uniforms. But I think it's going to be good. I mean, at the moment, I can tell you guys, it is raining. So
great start.
Kelly, I've been trying to imagine like an athlete's preparation before the Olympics, and in my head I'd be thinking like, who am I running against, what position I'm going to take up on the track, what sort of training I'm doing building up to the race, what food am I eating. I mean, give us an insight in what 2-3 days before the race. Are you worried about getting injured? Are you making sure that you've got the right tactics? What's going through your head?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's lots of things that obviously go through that process, but a lot of the time you're tapering. So meaning all the training's done, all the hard work and effort physically is done. And now it's all about fueling. So nutritionally, making sure the body is relaxed, that your mind's relaxed, that you kind of know what's expected of you and where. Because if you think about a lot of the athletes coming to an Olympic village, it's quite overwhelming because if you haven't been to a games before, you're literally going into a little minor city. So you want to be in there a couple of days before just to get your bearings, to know where you're going to be sleeping. It's very exciting from a Team GB's point of view. There's a lot of freebies, so all the athletes love it. You've got you've seen some of the athletes online jumping up and down on their cardboard beds. You've got to get used to the environment first of all, and then I think you would have probably, some depending on the sport, but from athletes, you normally get with your coach or speak to your coach a couple of days before to get all those tactics out the way. And you can only think about the here and now, because you've got to remember that we start putting medals around people's necks, but yet they've still got to do the qualifying rounds. So you have to think of the here and now. It's getting there in one piece, It's moving into your environment and settling, getting the excitement out of the way. And then it's game face on. So what's your first heat? If it was my races, for example, what's your first heat? What lane you drawn in? Who you're drawn about? What's your tactics going to be? And how are you going to qualify with the least amount of effort for the next round? And that doesn't really matter what sport that is. It's always about the first time that you go out into competition, what you've got to do to either get your best performance or qualify for the next round in your competition. So a lot goes through your mind in these times.
Kelly, it almost seems impossible when I think back to that evening talking to your family that it's 20 years since you won the 800 meters title in Athens. Is Keely Hodgkinson going to repeat your feat in a few days' time?
Well, firstly, KH. I mean, it's got to be a sign, hasn't it?
There's a sign in that, yes.
Again, can she win gold this year? Absolutely. She is world class, number one in the world, world leader, national record holder. Absolutely, she can. I do not like putting medals around people's necks. 800 meters is a sprint for 2 laps with 7 other people in the way. You have to go through the rounds first. And again, you've got young talent who go into a heat where they act like it's their final. So at any stage, you can be caught out, somebody runs erratic, and it's not the race you assume. But if everything goes to plan, fingers crossed, toes crossed, and she's in that final, yeah, she could win this race and it will be amazing.
Kelly, most other sports, things have changed in 20 years, the surface or whatever. In your sport, so obviously you've got your spikes and you've got the track. Have they changed?
Oh, yeah. It's a different sport. It's a different sport. No one talks about it, do they? They've got carbon plated plates in their spikes, which is elevating their performance. I mean, the percentage increase in performance is huge. And also the surfaces. So you're looking at world records being broken nearly every single race at the moment. National titles being obliterated. I mean, I would not be surprised if Usain Bolt's records don't go at these games. If it's the perfect weather, the heat, with the track that they've laid in Paris and the spikes that they're working now, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of records broke. Now, that's all well if everybody gets exactly the same, they're all getting the same equipment, they're all kind of there's no imbalance with that performance. But that's why the records are getting broken and no one wants to seem to talk about it for some reason. But, it elevates the sport in a certain way in terms of people like to see real hard competition, fast races. But yeah, it's changed dramatically. You cannot compare from the days of us slogging out with spikes that look like a piece of paper.
And Kelly, apart from Keely Hodgkinson, what if I put you on the spot now, what else or who else are you most looking forward to watching in the whole Olympic Games?
Oh, in the whole Olympic Games? Well, I mean, from an athletics performance, I think we're going to get a multitude of medals. I think we've got some real great young talent, especially in the middle distance running. Middle distance is probably our strongest part in the UK at the moment, with Josh Kerr in the men's 1500 metres, Laura Muir in the women's 1500, Georgie Bell in the I can go through the whole list of our middle distance runners who potentially have the chance of medaling. We come away from athletics, of course, the cyclists are always known now to be, again, gaining momentum of multiple medals on the track. If you only get one, it's never good enough now, is it? You've got to get 2 and 3 and 4. The pool, obviously. But I am interested in breakdancing. It better be good to get a medal. It better be good. I mean, I like development. I like the fact we've moved forward. Paris have obviously been able to put that in. It gives youth an opportunity. I think they're around 16 years old, and the girls and the boys, as they call it, a chance to excel, to show their talent, their creativity. So I'm sort of very interested. We've also got a lot of medals in the boxing potential. So I only arrived last night, so I'm going to go down and get my accreditation accreditation so that I can help cover the opening ceremony for talkSPORT tonight. And then during the day, I'm going to walk around, find my feet, and look at what my plans will be to go and watch as many Brits tomorrow.
Can't wait to hear yourself and Natalie from 7 o'clock here on talkSPORT, bringing us all from the opening ceremony. People there. I don't need to introduce Dame Kelly Holmes, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks very
indeed.
much.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.